Candidates for the October 12th presidential election are currently on the ground for pre-campaign mobilization, unveiling their political programs and vision for Cameroon. Programs ranging from the socio-economic situation, the form of the state, solving of the Anglophone crisis, waging of war on corruption, curbing unemployment, rebuilding institutions, among others. And today we are asking the questions, are the various political programs matching the demands of Cameroonians? How realistic are some of these promises made by the candidates vying for the October 12th presidential election? This will be our focus on today's edition of 360 Degrees. Good afternoon, and if you are just joining us, we are coming live from Yaoundé, and we shall be with you for the next 1 hour. Stay with us. You're welcome back. My name is Hyson Chia, and today we are discussing the programs of the different candidates for the upcoming presidential election. Of course, at this point in time, we can say with certainty that all the candidates have already given us a clue of what they want to, of how they want to work as far as if they get to the helm of the state on October 12, 2025. So, to discuss this very important program, we have 5 panelists here. We shall begin straight away in no particular order. I'll begin from my extreme right, from my extreme left, rather, where I have Enes Akufo. Enes Akufo is a civil society actor and a political analyst. Enes Akufo, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Hyson, and good afternoon to the viewers of Canal 2. We are 29 days away from the most heralded presidential election in Cameroon. Yeah. Just but hope that with the topic at hand, by the end of the program, together here we must have expunged all of what it needs for the audience out there, the viewers out there, to understand these political programs, the manifestos, I mean to say. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. By you, I have Hansen Mish. He is a Northwest Regional Delegate for Communication and Propaganda for the Cameroon Party for National Reconciliation. Hansen?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, dear co-panelists. Good afternoon, Cameroon. Hoping that this afternoon is going to be a great exchange for us to see into what the different opposition candidates have to offer Cameroon against the incumbent for the 3 years of destruction. Thank you.
Yes, and I want to say today we are focusing on your role as a communicator, not the propaganda part of it. No problem. We shall have maybe as from the 28th to blue the propaganda the way you want to blue it. I get to my extreme right where I have Blake Nsango Yakubu. He is, first of all, an economist, and politically he is a communicator at the Central Committee of the CPDM. Yakubu, you're welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hyson. Good afternoon to the co-panelists, and good afternoon to the viewers of Canada the International. I would like to first give kudos, special greetings to all the militants and sympathizers of the CPDM who have been mobilizing throughout the national territory to give their support to the candidate, to our candidate, President Paul Biya. We have seen our delegations, we have seen the groundwork we have been doing for the pre-campaign, and then wishing that the campaign period would be at least the triple of what you people have seen so far.
Thank you so much. By you, I have Do Bertrand, who is a journalist, and he doubles as the managing editor of the Daily Guardian Post. Do Bertrand, you're welcome.
Thank you, Hyson. Thank you for inviting me. Good afternoon to all your viewers and to Cameroonians out there. We hope the ideas that we're going to share will help, make up the mind of maybe Cameroonians who are still to decide if they're going to turn out to vote or not.
Yeah, and who they will vote for. And the little lady on the set, they always say ladies before gentlemen, but I decided to reverse the train today. Promise Akante. Promise is a journalist, and she's also a corporate communicator. Promise, a pleasure to have you.
It's always a pleasure to know that I can steal my Saturday and I can't do everything I can for the weekend, because when I see your call on a Friday, I know that my weekend is taken. It's a pleasure to be here still, and it's an opportunity for us to say good afternoon to all Cameroonians who are of voting age and who have their voters' cards already and who are planning to go to the polling stations on October 12 to vote for their new president. Good afternoon to those who are watching us out of the country. We have a Liberian who who loves Cameroon, news from Cameroon a lot. He watches the national station, but when he watches the private TV, he's like, do you have two countries in one? Because what he sees on the national TV is different from what he sees on private media. So just follow both. We are in a very beautiful country. Just be enjoying the good sides of the continent. So I'm grateful you're here, Hyson. I hope that we will definitely enlighten Cameroonians. By the end of this program, they will know who to vote for and what future holds for the next 7 years.
For sure. Let me just stay with you as a journalist. We are 1 month to go. How do you see the wave of the pre-campaign across the national territory?
I don't know if I should compare this year with 2018, but I think in 2018, by this time, we really felt like there was going to be elections. Okay. This year, the only thing we are feeling is how roads have been blocked and they are under reconstruction at a very snail pace. But we can't quite get the effervescence. I was in the car the other day and tried to talk to some young ladies who did not think that it was important for them to vote. I was trying to let them know that even a null ballot is better than being absent completely from the polling station. And it is important to stay at the polling station till 6 p.m., secure your vote, let it be counted, you are sure, so that by the time it is tampered with, I'm not saying it's going to be happening, but if they somehow make a mistake, you can start and say, I was at the Etugebe pool, for example, and at the end of the day, this one was counted, and so there should be no mistake. So I think that political actors, the opposition parties, and even the ruling party should do more of education because citizens are not very quite versed with what it means to vote, why it's important for you to vote, why you should go to the police stations, why you should stay there to 6 p.m., and why you should assist in the counting process, not because a party hired you, but because you are responsible, you want to protect your own. Okay. Your voice matters. Your single vote can change a lot in the country, so please stay there. And the parties, I hope they are listening to us and hopefully that by the time they launch election or campaigns, they will know what to do to sensitize more people.
Do Bertrand, your view on the wave of the pre-campaign?
I would say everything is going on well. We've seen some opposition political leaders on the field, but what we've seen is a situation where, how should I put it? I don't know if I should say discrepancy in the authorizations given by administrative authorities to those who are supposed to hold political meetings. We saw a situation in Menganga where officials of UNDP were blocked from being escorted by bike riders. We also witnessed something like that, I think 2 weeks ago in Limbe.
By the angry
Limbe. But I think all in all, we've seen situations where most political actors are descending to the field, giving an avant-goût of what their vision is, because it is not campaigned properly. Campaigns are still to begin. But we've seen some, in as much as some are on the field, we've seen some who have gone to sleep, some are just relying on social media to be updating their pages and things like that. But all in all, it is about sending a message of what you think, it's your vision for the country, the change that you want, and I think every method they are using counts, because it is not only going to the field, but some are using it strategically, because I've seen people who have rushed to the Northwest and Southwest already, knowing that with what is happening in the Northwest and Southwest during campaign periods, they might not go there and they will have a justification to say, I went to the Northwest and Southwest regions.
Okay, Yakubu, the CPDM at this point, 2 weeks to the official campaign. What are you doing?
We are mobilizing all our machineries put in place throughout the 360 subdivisions of our country. You've seen during the pre-campaign period, our meetings, we have been mobilizing our militants, and we have been giving them the political education. We're talking about political education. We want to give kudos to Professor Elvis Ngolengolo, who is the one handling the CPDM Academy, which is really helping a lot in the education of the youths. And and that is why at this time in point we are really prepared, and we are continuing to prepare, and that is how we are having supports are arriving every day. We just had the ones from the G20, we had traditional authorities, that is how the members of the civil society, many are joining us at this time in point. And Mr. Hyson, let me tell you something, that at this time in point, the CPDM is almost the only political party who is really giving out the program, what they are intending to do, what is being done.
And what
Mr. Hyson,
I think
please,
all political parties have dished out.
Mr. Hyson, please. Yes. Others are concentrating about 90% of their time telling how President Pope, the age of the president has gone up, 43 years has gone down. People are waiting Cameroonians are waiting to get what you do. You are concentrating on the 43 years. The president has been there for 43 years. He is 100 years old, and etc. And this type of strategy, cannot work. Okay, because Cameroonians at this time, I'll take the example of somebody like Barrister Ekweremona, who went to the Constitutional Council not to air out what he in, but because the age of the president has done this, the president has done that, concentrating the whole of his time on the candidates and on the age. Okay. Yes, that's just a simple example. Okay. We will come back to it.
Okay, Yakubu, I will be coming back to you to tell us what is new in President Paul Biya's political program for Cameroonians this year. Enes Akufo, the other day, I think Thursday, you were part of the National Consultation Forum organized by Elections Cameroon to consult with stakeholders of the electoral process. What did you take home from there?
Yes, Hyson, thank you very much for getting back to reverting to that. I think we're fortunate to have been invited to that grand occasion. It was good sign, but I want to say, despite the fact that it was good sign, it was belated. Belated in the sense that the resolutions gotten there and the code of conduct, I don't think it will be disseminated. The resolutions will get wrapped down to the people there in the subdivisions, in the villages, because the code of conduct doesn't only hold or tie with members or leaders of political parties or the bureau of the political parties. It's supposed to get down right there to the militants of those parties. Promise was talking a few minutes ago, if I quite remember, about political education. I've been singing this out, that there's not a lot of political education in Cameroon. Apparently, political party leaders who are not politicians, because I want to say that most of them are not politicians. Okay. They are political retailers. Let me use that. So I want to say the majority of them, they just want to say, what do I become tomorrow? They forget about the masses, forgetting that the masses are part of it. So Elecam called this platform to lay things straight. How are people going to act? First, I'll start with the journalists, because when people went into the different subgroups where they had to brainstorm to bring out what was necessary for the, well, I'm not reporting for Elecam anyway, because they have to pay for this, right? So it was all about brainstorming, seeing into it that we have free, fair, transparent, and acceptable elections. And I say it was a good initiative, but the worrying thing is it not belated? When shall the resolutions get right down to the people right down there? Because in the sub-commission where I was, the sub-commission in charge of seeing into it that how the polling stations are going to function. Okay. Yes, and the inclusiveness in the electoral process. Yes, there was a lot of brainstorming there, and at the end of it all, we came out with the resolutions. We hope that they will not remain on paper, that they will be implemented. Okay. So at the end of it all, all was well, that ended well. Okay. But are the resolutions going to be implemented? Because the code of conduct was signed. Okay. I think today I listened to the Minister of Territorial Administration, went to Elecam yesterday, ensuring that all of that be done. it should be popularized. That code of conduct should be popularized so that the people get to know about it. That is part of the education. That is part of the electoral process. Elections is all about a process. So you must bring to the knowledge of the people, let them know what they should do on voting day and what they shouldn't do. I think that is what ELECAM should be doing now with its various organs, like the corporate communicators. That's what's supposed to be done now.
Thank you so much. Hansen, though, was saying that some candidates are on the ground, some are on social media. I want to attest that your own candidate has been on the ground all this while, and you inclusive as well. So what is the picture you paint? Because that was like testing the ground before the real campaign.
That's right.
So what is the picture you paint from the political terrain?
You know, it's just in Yaoundé, the political capital. Moving from one quarter to the other is already a tough thing to do. Talk less of moving from one region to the other. You notice Cabral we got annoyed at some point living from Marwa to Garwa because of the nature of the route. And it's a case with so many other parts of Cameroon, even within cities, talk less of traveling from one region to the other. It's very difficult as far as movement is concerned. But I wouldn't, of course, forget to talk about the northwest and the south and the southwest regions with the nature of the roads, and then worst of all, the insecurity. You know, we are like everything is already okay, and nobody even is talking about it. We know the things that are going to be unfolding as the days go by, and it's becoming so difficult and almost impossible for some of us of the opposition to be able to access these regions, like most especially villages in the northwest region, and same with the south. The town is a little bit accessible, but going down to the villages now is becoming almost an impossibility. That's why you realize that political party leaders will end at the level of Bamenda City and then rush out as soon as they can because of insecurity. So it's not easy for my party, the Cameroon's Party for National Reconciliation, and maybe every other opposition party to be able to access the terrain in this part of the country.
Did you witness any administrative crackdowns this time around, like you always decry?
Well, this time around, you know, after winning a lot of battles to secure our candidacy, that was already a big blow. Which made it which gave us a certain level of security at the level of the people, the base militants, in such a way that even if the administrative authorities are attempting such fully, they will only have to contest with the base, not even us who might want to travel as on the interreach and all of that. So the power of the people is turning back to the people, and that's what, of course, everyone is crying for Cameroonians to do, to rise up and realize that power belongs to them and not a few people.
Yeah, just briefly,
Yes.
before we dive into...
I'm sorry, I had to cut in.
Of course,
cut in because the last question you posed to my co-panelist is very important. Very important in the sense that compared to the previous years when we had elections where political parties, opposition political parties could not hold meetings freely, the situation has a little ameliorated, and you see the political tension that prevailed when elections were announced has a little subsided. We can say at that time it was 130% on 100, but now we are getting to something like 60, 65. Yes.
Yakubu seems not to be okay with you. Though, Bertrand, when I look at, we are diving into the discussions proper, the programs dished out by the different candidates for the election. When you look across, you see that almost all are talking about federalism, the form of the state. Let's begin from there. Is that a major problem in this country?
Not everybody is for federalism. I would agree with people talking about the form of the state. If you look at the program of Bilobuba Maigari, he says he's going to organize kind of a national consultation where Cameroonians will air their views on what they want the form of the state to look like. We know that the SDF is pro-federalism. Kabalibi is bringing his own version of federalism. Issa Churuma has also talked about overall of the states, statecraft and things like this. But I feel that the form of the state, which before now used to be a taboo, it's something that most presidential candidates are talking about, which means this centralized unitary system which we have, it's seemingly fading. And people feel that we might take power back to the grassroots because this decentralization which the regime is implementing, it's not the one that powers are really devolved fully to the local authorities at the level of the councils, at the level of the regions. So I think that if Cameroonians feel that federalism is going to be the magic one, the person who becomes the next head of state is going to push for this. And now to come back to the topic itself, I think most of the programs that have been proposed, when I read through most of the political programs, our candidates, their ideals, their vision is tied to some of the things that they have been pushing for over the years. If you look at the candidate, the Univet candidate, Akeremuna, he anchors his vision on curbing corruption.
Yes.
It's a fight that he has been in for decades.
With the Now movement.
He believes that when corruption is brought to the barest minimum, the economy will be revived, things will be done in the right way. If you look at Bello Buba, he's talked about constitutional reviews. He wants to review the constitution to, empower the judiciary, empower the different arms of government. And he wants to touch every aspect. And most of our candidates too are talking about, most of them have mentioned what they will do in the first 100 days. And they're talking about, addressing the issue that has been causing bloodletting in the country, that is in the northwest and southwest. We're talking about the Anglophone crisis. Most of them agree on it. And most of them have also mentioned issues concerning reviving our economy, because the economy, whether we like it or not, it's not working. Everybody wants to see how they can revive the economy. Akeremuna has talked about, consulting all subdivisions to see them, for them to bring out their priority areas. Churuma has mentioned issues about reviving the economy. O.C. Joshua has also come about with a vision where he said he wants to rescue Cameroon. He's talked so much about the economy and things like this. So I would say that generally the programs tie with the aspirations of Cameroonians, but some of them look to me like pipe dreams. Okay. When we hear some candidates say they want to change the name of the country, I don't see how this will become a priority, changing the name of the country.
We shall be getting to
that. When we know that changing the name of the country has first of all brought us to the crisis in the north and southwest where we are.
Okay, we shall be getting to that, though, Bertrand. Promise Akante, your view on what are some of the captivating issues you've gotten from these programs? Yeah,
so the captivating issues about it, not the theory, because I hope that from this theory we are going to move into the practical phase.
Yes.
Once they are elected and taken to power. For example, when Ateki Clarkson says he is going to focus more on creating jobs for fighting unemployment, cutting from 35% to less than 10%, and creating golden job hubs to create like 100,000 jobs for your people by 2030. That's like practically in 5 years. We hoping that that's going to be materialized, and then Barrister Akeremuna, who is also looking at sharing, giving out money to each division and subdivision to take care of their infrastructure.
Each councils
to take care of their.
To be precise, 1 billion at the start. Per council. No, I'm just reporting what he said.
Right.
He said he talked of 1 billion.
Yes.
Kabalibe talked of 2 billion. Yes, to each council as the first step.
Which sounds good, which sounds interesting, because all of these we will not have gone into the crisis and lives being lost if people had their resources and managing their things, knowing what project is priority and carrying out and executing. When you listen to Bello Buba Maigari with his project of consulting, I'm trying to figure out, like, is he going to organize a referendum again? Are we going to vote again to decide if we want to go into federalism, 10 states or 2-state federalism? So all of it sounds beautiful when it's said, but then how are we going to cope? And then when you look at Clarkson says he's going to begin by pulling out Cameroon from the IMF. We will no longer be in the IMF again, and we are going to invest more or focus more into our realities and setting our drives. Immediately putting this investment into manufacturing and infrastructure, it sounds nice, because if we see how much of our timber is leaving the country in its raw form, it could just be some job creation and cutting cost of living. But it's like Chuma Bakari's program is when I read like twice, I'm looking for the exact point I want to put my finger on that is catching my attention. I have not yet had a particular point that caught my attention in this manifesto.
Okay.
The other we have the lone female candidate,
Patricia Tomaino
Damdea, who is also basically also talking about the form of the state too, and job creation for the youth. I think if all of the candidates can agree that youth unemployment is one of the main reasons we are having the challenges we are facing, and they could even synchronize and say, what is the president we are going to look for and look at the unemployment, because I don't see how we are separating employment and youth, because naturally that should be one ministry. If all of them are working for the same good, then it's going to be a good thing for our country.
Okay, wherever you are watching us, you have the opportunity to contribute to our talking point through the number you have on your screen. Please just make your contributions short and straight to the point. Hansen, I want us to begin from maybe some basic terms. Federalism, that we all know, but Cabral is tying it down to community federalism.
That's right.
Yes, tell us exactly what is the content of community federalism.
You know, each country has its own form of federalism based on the composition of the country. Cameroon is a diverse country with different people from different areas, having different ways of behaviors, different ways of thinking, having different histories and all of that. So we feel like if Cameroon needs to be stronger as a state, it needs to be federated. That, of course, everybody agrees on. But now we're looking at the type of federation. You come to realize that the present-day regional divisions of Cameroon does not take into consideration anthropology or even it doesn't take into consideration anything that has to do with the people of that region. Okay. It's just a cut and divide that says, okay, you belong here, you belong.
Geographical.
Exactly. Okay. It has nothing to do with the people that belongs to these different regions. Now, we feel like for Cameroon's diversity to be unified and maximized, the people have to be recognized as they are. We're taking the case of when you look at the Grand Sawa in Cameroon, you realize that all of these people have a particular way of behaving, which makes them stronger if they are united. We don't want a case where there is a Sawa in the littoral region and there's a Sawa in the southwest region. We want, if there is a Sawa, the Sawa people should be able to be united. Therefore, we're looking at a community federalism that takes into consideration the realities of Cameroonians and not just some sort of geographical partitioning we caring less of what composes the different people. We're also looking at a case where the people, a kind of federalism where the people have the power or they have greater access to power without necessarily depending on the centralized or the centralized or the fake or maybe the customized decentralization that we have today. We are in a case of federalism in a case where traditional authorities have power to be able to take certain decisions. We want a federalism where the people's history, where the people's way of life have so much to do as far as their livelihood is concerned, and even as at the level of decision making is concerned, such that we don't take decisions based on maybe external influence, but people should be able to take decisions based on their own internal, personal, and realities at the base.
Okay, when I read through, I saw a 30 states federation.
Yeah.
How are you going to come up with those states?
Now, these states are going to be divided based on the different communities that forms Cameroon. We're looking at it from the terms of divisions, present-day divisions. Okay. Now, if these divisions are reduced from the number it is down to 30 or even 28, it's still going to be the same way of management. But we're looking at it a case where power is reduced closer to the people with lesser overall influence. As in, if let's take for instance Bui division. Yeah. Bui division is composed of different tribes. You have them so with different clans under it. You have the None, you have the Oko, and all of that. Now let's take the Bui division for example as a region. Okay. Now there is a way that it is partitioned, which is the autonomous regional communities, and now subdivided into the subdivisions with their own independent budgets. Now, when we look at it from terms of budgeting, it is still going to be the same thing that we have today. But the difference is going to be that these people have more access and more authority over the management of their own economy, as opposed to where we have to wait till the state disposes the budget and all of that. And also, we're looking at it from the aspect of tackling security.
You come to realize that for those of us from the Northwest region, we are more secure because each person secures the other. That's why we're going to allow policing at the level of the regions and not at the level of the state. So that each region has its own security management based on its own specific realities, whereas the state is just there to maintain national security, but law and order is left to the level of the regions.
Okay. Ernest Akufo, when you look at the nature of our country, the complexity, we have over 400 ethnic groups. Do you see this working?
Well, I since seeing it working, it is rather unfortunate that when you look at the political parties in Cameroon today, they seem to be polarized. You want to, well, I will not name names here. You want to see parties in the north with people concentrating their parties in the east with people, the south, the center, the southwest, northwest. Well, political basis. If you take what the PCRN wants to do on that base, I think it will work. But getting to that again, you see, it is taking power more closer to the people. It is not bad. But what we already have at hand, which is the formal state, the formal federal structure, I think it should be enhanced. Because getting from the major issue of discussion here, wherein you were talking about the manifesto, the political programs. When you look at the political programs, you see that each of the conscientious political leaders wants to address a particular issue in a group of people. You see, when they get to the northwest and southwest region, they want to look at the problems which are inherent there. When they get into the far north region, they want to look at the problem there. When they get into the littoral region and the sour zone, the grand sour zone, they want to look at the problems there. This in itself is not bad. But the bad thing is when political parties now become village parties. Yes, that is the worrying issue. And it gets to the extent that some political parties are not allowed to trespass. I don't know why it should be so, to trespass in certain places. In as much as manifestos are concerned, and which are political programs either of a party or a candidate, I want to say, permit me, Hyacinth, I read through the book President Paul Biya published, Communal Liberalism, yes, the first and the revised copies. I want to say it's a wonderful book. This is the best thing that this country could ever have. But the worrying problem is not even a quarter of what is written in that book is implemented. Because if just a quarter of what is written in communal liberalism is implemented in this nation, Cameroon will be paradise on earth. But it's rather unfortunate. You see, we were talking about the manifestos. It is easier said than done. Most of the politicians are demagogues. Yes, some tell you, okay, you want a transitional period of 3 years. We know how power is sweet. Power is very sweet. Once he or she is there, no, I didn't say this. Or he will pay a deaf ear to you people and say, no, I couldn't take 3 years to maybe polish the mess which I made. Okay,
no,
maybe.
Remember that said he's going to have a 5-year mandate.
Yeah, a transitional, yeah.
After that, he's going to organize elections.
Yes.
Have a different president, so we should have hopes.
Okay, Yakubu, while these guys are coming up with federation or federalism, the CPDM is capitalizing on decentralization. Is there something new you are proposing this time around, or you just want to consolidate that?
We are first of all consolidating what is put in place, because we have all the structures of our decentralized structures that has been put in place, and competence is being transferred progressively, and the infrastructural development have started almost in all localities in terms of electricity, in terms of access to water, and in terms of access to education and etc. And then today, almost all the regions and the quality of education and even the quality of higher education has highly increased, has highly improved. That is why you will see medical doctors being trained here in Cameroon. easily integrate structures abroad. We have teachers trained here in Cameroon in these universities can easily have jobs out of the country. It means that the quality of the education, the quality of our medical doctors who are working in Europe, working in you go to Germany, you will see a lot of medical doctors who were trained here in Cameroon and they are working there. Please, Mr. Heisen, it means that the quality of our higher education, the quality of training has increased and has improved. Okay. Even in terms of we have referral hospitals all over the 10 regions who were built, and globally the security issues has not yet been solved, but the President of the Republic, with a lot of consultation, we are putting everything in place in order to appease all the regions of Cameroon, being it in the far north, being it in the northwest and in the southwest region. Everything the government is really doing its best to consolidate and to bring back peace and stability to all those.
So it's democracy of appeasement, right?
The new candidates are promising 100 days, 90 days.
Mr. Heisen, that is why we Cameroonians should not be naive, and thank God Cameroonians are not naive. Okay. Because when you look at the way all the opposition, all the 11 other candidates, they are almost saying the same thing. But okay, you people, they are there for the good of Cameroonians, and then they want federalism, they want the youths unemployed, they want to tackle the problem of unemployment and etc. Why is it that for more than I don't know how many months they have been organizing meetings, consultations, why is it that they cannot come out? All of them, they cannot sit and bring out a single candidate.
Why do you want to bring out a single candidate?
Because if you people already,
why do you want them to bring out a single candidate?
We shall get to that.
That is why I'm saying that, yes. Because all of them, when I listen to them, they are only there. Those are egoistic. I would say they are only there for their egoistic visions, and they are not there for the people. Okay. That is why Cameroonians, the best candidate for Cameroonians, that is why many Cameroonians have preferred to stand behind the President Biya, because he is the best choice. And many of those things that are being said by these opposition candidates cannot be done.
Why not?
Anyway, we'll get to that.
Okay, they cannot be done by the President.
Those are only on papers. Cannot be
one of the key issues, most of them are brandishing, is that we have so many members of government, and if they happen to take over power, they will cut them down to either 20-something, 30-something. Do you see that creating an impact?
Yes, of course. I think one person who has really helped on this is candidate Keremuna, who said if he's elected, his government will have it will be between 20 to 25. I think at the moment we have close to 50 members of government. If you want to calculate the full-fledged ministers, delegates, and the rest, we are more than that.
62.
And the government is bloated for nothing. And the resources that are spent on these members of government could be, we could harmonize. For instance, I see this will save us a lot of state resources that could be diverted to areas where we have the most basic of social amenities lacking. For instance, we can have a Ministry of Education, where under that Ministry of Education, we could have a directorate in charge of basic, a directorate in charge of secondary, a directorate in charge of vocational training, higher, and what have you. Not us having about 4 or 5 ministries that handle just education alone. How do you separate youth affairs, civic education with sports and things like this, and employment and vocational training? All of this should be merged. And because I think we are in a system where the head of state does not want to forget his old friends, and so institutions are created to compensate. What is the role of the Senate at the moment? If it is not for us to recycle old friends and give them compensation,
people ask for decentralization, please. It is
I'm trying to answer a question.
Okay.
Let me learn. We are talking about decentralization. Decentralization does not mean that we should waste resources in compensating people, in compensating old friends.
Decentralization.
Now, what we are talking about is, let's see how we could merge some of the state institutions that are just floating for nothing, and see how we can save resources in the country. Exactly. Even state corporations, many state corporations can merge. I think if this is done, most of the resources that are being given to people for nothing will be diverted to roads, will be diverted to schools, will be diverted to our infrastructure development in the country. I see. We are in a system where we are focused on compensating individuals for what they have done for the country and leaving Cameroonians to, on a daily basis, be aching the life out of the institution. This is not how a country should be.
Okay.
The general interest should be put before individual interests.
Okay, Promise Akante, though is trying to highlight that...
I am highlighting, I'm not even trying.
that the head of state somehow is compensating his friends with...
His own friends.
It's not
Are you trying to tell me that the person that will come up will not have friends to compensate?
That's the difference. When you can put general interest first, prioritize. Okay, see, sometimes I say it is we are not going to crucify the person who is feeding the child because they as I say in the diary, you should not look at the person who is feeding the child because they have always go to the mouth. Or those harvesting your on your farm, you should not look at their mouth because they will be one in the mouth. But if you are given 100 million francs, for example, for a contract, you can at least put 95 million in that contract. It will be by then you're siphoning the 5 million will almost close our eyes to it because at least you have done the job. So even if the new head of state is going to have friends to whom he's going to be awarding contracts or giving positions of authority, look at various positions. What is... But this week entirely, we've been having issues with connections, be all the mobile operators, there's been a lot of issues of connections. We have a Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications, we have a Telecommunications Regulatory Board, we have a national, we have Antique, we have like 4-5 structures which are all supposedly geared towards working for better connections, better internet providing, better calls and all of that. But now we have the state's cartel that's supposed to be there to provide all this, all of this. Now, what the state says, or the state-owned structure says, is that they came into the competitive market 20 years after because they were there and they didn't know that they were supposed to be competing because they were the loan structure. Now they don't have the right infrastructure to provide the quality services that Cameroonians need. Now there's a supposed structure giving us good internet connections that are not called the name because it is illegal. They are not giving their publicity, but because they have the good infrastructure, they are providing Cameroonians with quality internet. We can browse, I can get your message, and then we can communicate. Now, why does a state-owned company not have the right infrastructure to meet up with the competitive market? Because those who are put there probably do not have the competence or just don't care.
It all boils down to the vision. It boils down to the vision. I remember that she mentioned something about Kamte. Remember that government granted Kamte concession to do mobile. Or just of recent, it's around 2020. So it means the company was there, but it was to operate on fixed basis.
Exactly. So now we have mobile companies that are foreign and that are giving us, and then, no matter what they give us, now we are going to slow it down with the internet because they are the ones at least doing something. But why should Kamte not have all the up-to-date infrastructure to give us a good quality of calls and internet at cheapest rates?
Okay, thank you, Promise.
If the right person was appointed to the right places,
I think the right people are there. It's just about the vision of the person.
Anyway, yes, Hansen, one of the major issues we have now, the Anglophone crisis. I don't know how you are going to navigate to get the votes, but most of you are brandishing 100 days, 90 days, 30 days to have a dialogue and resolve the Anglophone crisis. The complexity of the situation. Do you think it will be that easy?
One thing I want to say is that for Honorable Cabral Bia has not mentioned any of those days, but there is one thing he has mentioned. He said the first step to solving, you remember there is a difference between the Anglophone problem and the Anglophone crisis. What we have now is the Anglophone crisis, which is a result of the mismanagement of the Anglophone problem.
Excellent.
Okay, Cabral Bia said this: to solve the crisis is easier, but to solve the problem is not.
Complex.
So how is it that we're going to solve the crisis? First, he has mentioned it severally that we're going to do it through a peace agreement. If we cannot reach a peace agreement between whoever is in charge of what, we cannot think of solving the crisis, talk less of solving the problem. Which, if we successfully reach a peace agreement, one thing is that if we minimize the strength of the enemy,
there is no way we're going to come to a table to discuss anything with them. We have to recognize how much power they hold. They have shown it since 2016 to this level. So they've shown that they can be able to do it, even if it means destroying. They are capable of doing it. So for us to solve the crisis, we must be able to reach a peace agreement between the government and the Cameroonian people. From then, that's where we go into dialogue upon dialogue upon dialogue, even to the 10th dialogue, to be able to have the right solution to the Anglophone problem. But the crisis first, we need a peace agreement.
Even when the dialogue will take as long as 9 years that we've taken?
Well, the difference here is how the dialogue is organized. Okay. What we had as the Grand National Dialogue, how many of the resolutions that were brought have been implemented? And besides, who was invited? Okay. There is something about the composition of the dialogue. You cannot be fighting with me and then you are in charge of negotiating what we talk about. You cannot be fighting with me about a particular thing and then it's a taboo topic. It is not even better that people can freely talk about the form of the state. You know, back then you didn't mention the form of the state is a taboo. Like we can now hear different political parties talking about the form of state. Even us sitting here, we can freely talk about the form of the state. But years back, that was a taboo, which therefore means that during the Grand National Dialogue, if the form of the state was even a topic of discussion, something better might have come out. So we need to be able to recognize all the parties that are involved in this crisis, and before we can even think of bringing a solution in 100 or 300 days.
Okay, Ernest Akufo, we have people that have lived in this country from 2016 till now, and they were influential, of course. Now that they are candidates, they are giving us steps to solve the Anglophone crisis. They have never created even a little impact on maybe baby steps to contribute to the solution. How genuine are their promises?
Well, you only believe in the politician at their risk. Yes, because I did say the most politicians are demagogues. They will tell you how they will buy you cheese from a bakery, from a drugstore. So that's what politics is all about. Bringing up the ideas, manipulating the people to get to power. And then when they get to power, they begin to see how do they manage the power. Before I get in depth into what you were saying, I want to get back to what Bertrand was talking about the merging of some ministries. Of late, I think it's about 2 months now since the resignation of one of the ministers in the current regime. Yeah. It's for the first time we are seeing a minister managing 2 ministries, which means it is possible that those 2 ministries can be merged, right? Yeah. So it's clear. Why then not take all of the ministries of education, you put under one ministry? You take youth affairs and civic.
There was Ministry of National Education.
It was national. So under the national, you had all of these ministries. Now we are beginning to see it. If they can merge employment and civic and vocational training and civic education, it means it is doable. Because how do you take a ministry and give to another minister? So to come back to your question proper, I want to say I don't see how these people can manage it out. It's a little difficult because when you begin to look at, first of all, the political programs, when they talk about them, I know it's all about political sloganeering, right? Yes, it's all about political sloganeering because it's like politicians when they study that science, they know how to lure people. You only realize yourself afterwards that you were hoaxed and coaxed, and there's no way out. Because I don't see how somebody goes and sells his or her conscience for 1,000 francs because you cast a vote and you bring back the ballots of the other person, and then you suffer for the next 7 years. That doesn't make sense. So it is a call for politicians to conscientize their militants or sympathizers on the raison d'etre of the upcoming polls 29 days from today. We were talking a while ago about some being on social media, some being on conventional media, some getting to the field. The world is evolving and you cannot stay back with the current trends. So some people will say, oh, some people are only found on social media. The power of the social media is very strong, provided you do it in the right way. Okay. So that is it. Okay. So the elections this time around will be very different from the elections we had for the past years.
That's right.
Take my word. because some people feel it is un fait accompli déjà.
Okay.
Watch out.
Okay.
No, but young people.
Gentlemen and lady, please, we've had the opportunity to listen to the different candidates. Yesterday, the youngest candidate was equally unveiling his own political program. Let's just take this excerpt of Samuel Hiram Iyoji on what he is promising to Cameroonians if he's given the confidence on October 12th.
We identified 12 keys that can help us transform our country. First of all, transform our governance. Our first goal is to reduce the misuse of Cameroonians' money in order to save funds, to mobilize the resources we need, and to reallocate them in investments that will help us build health centers, schools, road and infrastructures to produce and distribute electricity. Also, our program will be based on a deep transformation of our educational systems. We aim at giving to a 18-year-old Cameroonian all the skills he needs to find a job as soon as he gets out of the secondary school. We are also having reform on the justice system, independence, land management, which we want to give priority to the local communities, the sovereignty. We are advocating to banning the export of our agricultural and mining resources in order to keep them on our territory and use them to build a strong economic systems that will help us build a strong nation. So those are some of the key points. We can also talk about the dual citizenship that we will adopt as soon as we are elected as the head of the state, and some others transformation reforms on the fact that we need to give more spaces to our heroes in the public infrastructure of our country. So that's what mainly Cameroonians will see after the October 12th, but generally it's just to tell them that we have a country where we will associate them in the way we are making decisions.
You're welcome back. Briefly, gentlemen, maybe less than a minute each. Dobetran, are there promises you get from these candidates that are not necessary?
Of course, I mentioned the candidate talked about changing the name of the state. How is this of importance to Cameroonians who've known how the change of the name of this country has contributed to the crisis that we have in the Northwest and Southwest region?
I think Jacques Bougard was saying that we should go back to the K, the German K, that will engulf everybody.
I think this is one of the things that people have mentioned, bringing back the corpse of Ahidjo, which is important. But is it a national priority? He's one of the icons that we have in the country, one of the heroes. It is important, but let's see how we can prioritize things that will bring back, the unity that the country has, because our unity is shaken. The foundation of the country's unity is shaken. Let's see how. I think my plea is anybody who is elected head of state to first of all see how you can unify the country back, bring back that unity, and then before we start seeing how we can bring back the corpse of Ahidjo and things like that. That should not be a priority for me.
Promise?
And changing the name of the country should not be a priority.
Promise, Akante?
Okay.
Briefly, please.
I remember that when we were growing up, we had a very big map of Cameroon. Our wall, it was written that the United Republic of Cameroon, and we had all those provinces that were going through. After changing from that to just the Republic of Cameroon, I don't know how that's happened anyway. But I was listening to the youngest candidate who says that he's going to assist citizens in decision-making process. Have you ever tried organizing just one family meeting event and see how many opinions will come out? You spend like the whole month to prepare a one-day event. So I'm not saying that people should be consulted, but seeking people's opinion sometimes is going to really slow down this.
Okay, your last word, Hansen, please. You have to be very brief.
Yeah, no matter from all the opposition candidates, I think they're all better than what we have now. Yeah, they might have excesses, but I think they are better than what we have now.
Thank you so much, Yakubu.
Yes, the Cameroonians should not be confused. Cameroonians, the only candidate among the 12 is President Paul Biya. That is the surest risk Cameroonians should take.
Risk.
Risk, Ernest Akufo, please. Your last word.
Well, thank you, Isaac. Well, it was a good exchange. I just plead for the fact that 29 days to the historic polls. Well, somebody asked me why historic. Just not historic. Yeah. We'll need good faith to prevail. Yes, good faith, and we're supposed to know that elections are not war.
Okay.
Yes, elections is not war.
Thank you.
After the 12th of October, Cameroon will continue.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much, gentlemen and ladies, for coming. If you are watching us, ask yourself the question: have I collected my electoral card or the voter's card? If not, you have to rush and collect to be able to be part of the decision making on October 12, 2025. Until we meet again next Saturday, stay with us.
Canal 2 International.
Cette rentrée scolaire, Wafakash récompense la fidélité de ses clients et accompagne les familles camerounaises. À chaque retrait, nos clients ont la possibilité de gagner jusqu'à 300 000 francs CFA.